Do you know that in Reiki there are actually three levels? Three levels that you progress through. But I'm actually going to say there's actually another secret level that I'll tell you about at the end. But if you've got here right now, and maybe you're thinking, Gary, there's another level of Reiki? Oh, yes. No doubt you're kind of curious as to what all these levels are. So, like I say, you may already be attuned to Reiki and you're fully aware of those levels, but I'm just going to kind of like expose a little bit about each level. Just a few thoughts of my own. By all means, these are not going to be completely inclusive of every aspect, but just me sharing my thoughts. I'm a Reiki master teacher myself, and I just like to share my own feelings about each level, and they're all wonderful. They all have their wonderful attributes. But yeah, when I put the title as level one versus level three, there are some big differences for sure. So, without further ado, let's go through them right now. And don't forget the fourth one at the end. So, a level one, um, traditionally known as Shodan, that is almost where you are literally indoctrinated into the Reiki energy, for want of a better word. You come in kind of like a little bit apprehensive, perhaps, or a little bit curious, a little bit like, okay, what's that all about? Reiki level one is really about yourself being introduced to that energy, and really the main focus is on yourself. Now, I just want to add on right here, right now, that no matter what Reiki level you are on, it is always about yourself. It is always this constant working on yourself and sort of like continue these little practices that you do. Now, the form that I teach, we do certain meditations. There's one called Hatsure Ho, which basically is like a kind of like formulating your energy, or this formulating your practice to work with the energy so it builds, just like everything else. Um, if you was going to the gym every day, you're going to get the benefits, aren't you? You're going to get some kind of results. It's the same with this little practice. It's almost like a little mini spiritual gym. You're going out, you're working out, kind of like working the energy that way. I also find what works well with Reiki as well is something like Qigong, which really does work with all those lovely energies. I actually do an online version of Qigong. It's with Chris Holden Qigong. It's actually brilliant. I do recommend it for you. If you want to cultivate more energy, add that to it. And one of the practices that Chris has taught me with a certain practice is actually how you can actually build the power in your hands, because obviously Reiki really can, is the easiest method to send Reiki is through your hands, of course. There are other methods, but level one, we really are working with introducing to that. There's certain precepts that we go over, which is really like the cornerstone of Reiki on how we develop those energies. And over time, you will kind of like, they become part of your life. They sound so simple. I'm not going to divulge them now, but they sound so simple, but they do build up over time, over time, over time, and you really do feel your place in the universe, for want of a better word. It can be quite awe-inspiring, but the main thing is obviously is to introduce you to the energies. I do two methods. I do the Western attunements, which is basically where we literally do like a kind of like a little ritual to introduce you to those energies. I also do empowerments as well, which are called Reiju, which are kind of very much Japanese based. Again, it's another method of introducing to the energy. These are very traditional, but we like to try and do a little bit of both, a little bit of Western, a little bit of traditional Japanese, and a bit nice, what I call a bit of a fusion. But really, it is about working with the energy on your own path and your own self healing practices. And at level one, you could also, we do encourage you to work with friends and family. Just take nice little steps, baby steps into learning that, cultivating that energy and moving forward. That for me is what level one's all about. There is much more, of course, there is to all these levels, but that's primarily what level one is. And what I say to people is when they've been with me, come back in about possibly 4 to 6 months' time, depending on their journey, depending on how often they practice, and then we'll look at stepping up to level two. Now, that would be completely different in Japan. You would have to spend a long time training in Japanese Reiki before you would be considered. It's like a grading in karate, for example. You go for a certain level, then you go to the next belt. I suppose this is another way of looking at that. Level two is Okuden. And with Okuden, we start to kind of like, it's always with each level, let me just say now, it is just building up your connection with Reiki. That's really primarily the goal for each level that you work on. You just like stepping up to the next level. And people can get a little bit hooked up on, oh, I'm level two now, I'm level three. It's not a video game. It is literally just the next stage of your natural progression. Now on level two, we do really start bringing in what we call symbols. Symbols, for example, are where we find a certain way of bringing in specific energies for specific purposes, if you feel so inclined. Now, I want to say as well, you can do Reiki level two with never ever using symbols. We do introduce that to you, but never ever think that I must use a symbol when I work with Reiki. You you probably will because you'll be taught these things, but you're well within your rights not to, and especially when it comes to treatments, when you do start treating people, you quite often I feel, well, I'm actually not being drawn to any specific energy with those symbols, and I will just literally give the kind of like treatment as I see fit, as I'm being guided. We work very much on intuition with level two, especially. We start doing certain things there. And with the symbols, they do bring in specific ways of treating, especially on physical level and also like more of an emotional level as well. There's certain energies, and we could do this thing called distant healing. You may have seen a couple of my distant healing videos that I've set up on here, and this can blow your mind a little bit, but we can send Reiki over distance. You don't actually physically need to be in the same room as the person you're dealing with, and I'll be honest with you, when I first learnt about this, I thought, there's no way, that's not possible. And for those who doubt that, think of you looking at this video right now and understand, isn't this just a transference of energy? I'm here in the UK, you could be anywhere in the world, and here you are looking at me right now with this transference of energy. Just the same as you pick up a phone. I could call someone in the same village, or I could call someone in Australia, be on the phone to them. We don't think nothing of it, do we? It's a transference of energy. So if you start thinking of Reiki in the same terms, because we are literally sending energy, someone's receiving, it then becomes a little bit more believable. Because I know, I will be honest with you, I thought that was just unbelievable, but I've done it many times and it works. And I've also had some feedback from a friend of mine who said they tried my video and yeah, they felt the energy. Now I did do that as a bit of an experiment to see how long that energy will last there. So why not hop on and go through some of my old back catalogue and look for a distant healing video and see if and be honest, it might not do a thing for you, but you may well sit there and thinking, oh, there is something to this. It's a simple free gift. All you got to do is hit the play button. It's simple as that. But this is what we'd work on level two, and level two especially, we do start to make it a little bit more seamless. Now, this is the rub, and some Reiki practitioners will disagree with this, which is perfectly within their rights, but you can send Reiki at level one. It's just level two, we focus more on it. We focus more on it and sort of like develop that kind of side of things a little bit. So that's level two. And with level two, we start working much more intuitively. Level one, I introduce you to work it's almost like Reiki by numbers, going through the chakras, for want of a better word. Level two, we do something a little bit different. We work where the energy guides us. And I'm not going to go into terminology because I don't want to addle you. That will come when you feel the time is right for yourself to either learn, or maybe you've already done this, so it will make perfect sense to you. but certainly level two. And at level two, you could potentially, if you felt so inclined, decide to, administer Reiki to members of the general public, if that is what you feel inclined to do so. And, you would show you certain steps that you do it all properly and so you're all covered. That is another thing that you can do at level two. But you'll be surprised, quite a few people I've got to level two don't go down that road. They work primarily on themselves. And as always, that's how it should be. We always work on ourselves. That's what level two is all about. So then we come to the final level, which is Reiki Master level, which is level three. And we call that Shimpenden. And that is where, again, there are new energies we're introduced to. We work with those energies, and they are quite powerful energies, very much for clearing away old debris, as I see it. There's a certain energy that's used for that. And there is like the master symbol itself, which is incredibly powerful, and that can really do the most deep, sort of like soul healing almost, very powerful. And it's rare, for example, if someone was to come to me, that I would just jump in with that particular energy with someone. It kind of builds up. It's like you don't want to launch a great big cannon at the person who's coming for a treatment for the very first time. I think with something like that, you try and build up to that level. We go deeper into the practicing, again, working on the self, certain energies within the self. We're always looking to kind of like expand on that, encouraging people to really start to push on with their own Reiki journey and sort of like finding out things for yourself. And I'm a firm believer in that. As we go through our journey, we'll find out and discover. It's like a voyage of discovery, and that's how it should be. Of course, we have the core essentials, as I call them. We have that compendium, but I'm a firm believer in that as we expand, we learn new practices, new energies. You may be drawn to certain other aspects of the spiritual realm, and by all means, encourage you to explore all of those options, as long as you're doing it from a nice, safe place. You're not doing anything too dodgy, with a better word. But you are on your own expansive journey. Allow your energy to flourish. This is for me, what Reiki level three is all about. It's just stepping in to the next phase of that wonderful, beautiful energy. And of course, at level three, if you feel so inclined, and we do suggest that, you practice what you preach first, get to know all the symbols and stuff, you could then look to possibly instruct somebody else in the art of Reiki and introduce them just like you would someone level one. It's like teaching. There are things that you go through, you kind of go through all the rigmarole to make sure you know your stuff basically. Because we certainly would want me to have a bit of paper in front of you reading off a script, because you'd soon get very bored, wouldn't you? And you definitely would have clicked off long before now if you're here, you're finding this content interested, obviously. But if I was just to read off a book, for example, you say, Gary, go away. I could read myself, thank you very much. So you know your stuff. You instruct people, and then if they feel so inclined, I say to people, do this for a good few months before you start teaching, so you know your stuff. And then you could start your own kind of like little tribe. And this is important. I'm quite passionate about this. That if we go start our Reiki, just go to the end and keep growing this beautiful energy. It's there to be shared. It's not for a select few that maybe it was in the past. This energy is for everyone. I see myself as a bit of a spiritual socialist. Everyone's included here, not just the select few. And I know some people might feel a bit different about that. No, I'm not into this exclusivity. For me, this is about sharing. Sharing is caring, truly. And right now, we can't afford to be elitist. We need to be out there sharing the energy with everybody so we can raise the vibration of this earth. That's only going to happen if we all participate, not just one or two. And that is ultimately where I see in that journey for us all. Now, to get to Reiki level three, I would say to those who are level two, leave it at least a year. Give it a year. Get used to your kind of like level two, then come back and see me. And quite often, some people just stay at level two because it's a big commitment, you know. But again, you don't have to teach. You don't have to feel under pressure. Oh, I need to teach people now and go on that process because it's just the next phase of your kind of like progress, your path. Now, some Reiki forms of Reiki will have a level three master level, and then they'll do a teacher, almost master teacher, another further course. Personally, I don't do that myself. We just put it there as one. There may be times down the line I might do a supplementary course, but as far as I'm concerned, once you're at level three with ourselves, you are then in a position, provided you obviously do things right, you can then kind of like go on to more sort of like expressive, sharing that beautiful knowledge. And then we come to the secret level. So, what is this secret level, guys? Come on, we're all dying to know. What's it called? And there's no fancy Japanese name. Well, there probably is, but it eludes me because I'm going to be totally English with you. It's simple. It is continually working on yourself. That is the secret level. You don't just get to level three and say, fuck, that's it. I'm done now. I'm a Reiki master, blah, blah, blah. No, it really is just the case that you've reached that level of literally where you've got to the end of base camp. Before you lies a huge mountain. Let's call it Reiki. Let's call it life. That is where the true journey starts. So for me, we are always looking to learn. We're always looking to expand, experience, always looking to try and improve how we live our life through the precepts. And believe you me, there are times when I will not hit those levels because I'm a human at the end of the day. We are all human beings. And the main thing is we just take ourselves continuously on that everlasting long journey of learning. The journey of life, the journey just keeps on going. So you get to the base camp and then you got the mountain. And if you ever should climb that mountain, you think, oh, that's it. Well, guess what? There's a whole darn range of mountains out there for you to climb. So keep going. It never stops. And it's just that beautiful evolution, evolving, spiraling upwards and upwards and upwards as we keep going up. A bit like that lovely picture behind me there. We just keep going up, 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 up. And it is honestly an infinite, eternal path that we're upon. So there you are, everyone. I hope that's been informative to you, as just give you a little bit of a heads up on my own personal take on the Reiki levels. And share with me, what's your thoughts on Reiki levels? And you may well say, well, Gary, actually, at level two, you didn't mention blah, blah, blah. Here's your chance to tell me. Because I know there are so many different variations. And I'm never one for saying, you must do it this way, you must do it that way. As long as you come in from here, there's no problem. So please do share me your own thoughts, your own belief sets, and how we can all continuously evolve and grow this beautiful energy because it's needed, isn't it? It really is. So do share your thoughts. Drop a like if you found this content sort of useful. And for now, I'm going to wish you a beautiful evening. Because that's where I am at this place at the time here. It's 7 o'clock. And for you, wherever you are in the world, morning, day, nighttime, afternoon, much love to you all. And I'll catch you at the next one. Thank you very much.